Hey, night listener. Tonight we enter the shadows. Dim streetlights flicker against the wet pavement, casting broken halos across your office window. Rain taps against the glass, like it's in on a secret. Outside, the alley breathes in silence, then exhales a single footstep. You're not expecting anyone. You never are this late. And yet, the knock comes again. 3 slow taps. Deliberate. Too soft to be afraid. Too certain to ignore. You open the door. She's standing there. Soaked, but unshivering. Not quite young. Not quite a woman yet either, just on the edge of becoming something else. And what chills your bones isn't her face, or the rain clinging to her lashes. It's that you know her, or rather you knew her. Her photo's been tacked on your office wall for nearly a year. The missing girl, the one they all gave up on, the one whose case broke you in quiet ways. She says nothing, just walks past you, like she belongs here, like she's not the reason you started drinking your coffee black and your whiskey warm, like she's never been gone. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. You don't ask where she's been, not yet. You watch her instead, the way she scans your books, your desk, your life. She doesn't look scared. She looks like she's cataloging the room. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe, only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Comment below with your location and tell me, are you here for the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. She finally speaks. You still keep the blinds halfway closed, she says, running a finger across the windowsill. I used to think that meant you were hiding. You don't answer. You can't. Her name, her real one, isn't on the case file. It never was. It was all Jane Doe number 712, and frantic interviews with friends who couldn't remember what she liked to eat. But now, she's here, flesh and breath, and the air around her feels artificial, like a replica of warmth, carefully rehearsed. You found me, she says, sitting down across from you, but I had to find you first. You fumble for words, but she cuts you off. I didn't run away, she says, and I wasn't taken. You hear the clock ticking on the wall, but you don't remember winding it today. I came back because I need you to listen. She slides something across your desk, a folded slip of paper. You open it, expecting a name, an address, a confession. Instead, it's blank, except for one phrase, scribbled in black ink. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You look up. She's watching you with too much stillness. Not anticipation, not hope. Just wait. And just as you begin to speak, she adds quietly, by the way, someone's watching from across the street. But if you look now, you'll miss them. Paranoia creeps in like fog through a crack in the window. You do look, and the window across from yours, a window in a building that's been boarded up for years now, has a single sliver of light glowing through the cracks. You swear it wasn't there before. You turn back to ask, but she's already standing. This isn't about finding me, she says. It's about what you lost when you thought you had. What does that mean, you ask? Voice a little hoarse. She doesn't reply. She walks to the door, opens it slowly, then turns her head. Be careful what you uncover. Some truths only survive in silence. The door closes behind her like a whisper. You sit back, the damp paper still in your hand. Your reflection in the window is distorted, fractured by rain, maybe, or something else. And just as you begin to question whether this even happened, your desk phone rings. You haven't had a working landline in 3 years. You knew, but pretended you didn't. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The first lie you told was to yourself. You don't answer the phone. Not at first. You let it ring. Once. twice, until the sound becomes a needle under your skin. On the fourth ring, you pick it up, half hoping it's her, half terrified it is. Silence, then a breath, then a click. You stare at the receiver for a long time before placing it back down, and when you glance at the window again, the light in the boarded building is gone. It shouldn't rattle you this much. You've stared down murderers, walked into crime scenes still warm, but something about her, the way she looked at you, like she wasn't returning to the world, but stepping into yours, the scent she left behind, lavender, old paper, something faintly metallic still lingers in your office. You pull out the old file. Jane Doe, number 712, age 17, last seen leaving school, suspected abduction, no ransom, no trace, until now. But you're already starting to doubt that this girl is the same one who vanished. You study her photo again. In the case file, her eyes are wide, uncertain, almost pleading. The girl who sat across from you an hour ago, her eyes lied differently. They weren't pleading. They were calculating. You tell yourself it's trauma, time, but the feeling in your gut, the one you've learned not to ignore, says something else. You open your desk drawer. Inside, beneath your service pistol and a few old receipts, is a small black notebook, the one you thought you lost. You flip it open. Your handwriting is unmistakable. Case notes from the week she vanished, surveillance logs, witness statements, and then tucked between 2 pages, you don't remember writing a fresh sheet. New paper, new ink, your name written over and over again, a child's scrawl, or a warning. You take the notebook to the light, angling the page. A faint symbol has been pressed into the sheet beneath something circular, like an insignia. You trace it with your thumb. Feels like it was etched in with something sharp. The phone rings again. You grab it instantly this time. A voice crackles through, not hers. A man. You were supposed to leave this alone. Click. This isn't a case anymore. It's a setup. Or maybe it always was. You step outside. Rain's eased into a mist now, but the night still clings to your skin. You light a cigarette you swore you quit. Just once. For clarity. You glance up at the window across the street. Nothing. Not even a shimmer of movement. But when you turn to lock your door, you notice something at your feet. A glove. Child-sized. Black leather. Damp. You pick it up, and a shiver climbs your spine. It's familiar. Not just the object, but the sensation. You've held this before. At a scene. Buried in a file. But there's no tag. No brand. Only one thing stitched in red thread inside the cuff. She remembers. You pocket the glove and start walking. There's only one person who might know what this means. His name is Calder. He was lead on the case before you inherited it, until he suddenly retired after a nervous breakdown and a sealed report. You haven't spoken in nearly a year. Not since he warned you to stop asking the kind of questions that turn mirrors against you. It takes you 40 minutes to reach his place, an old one-story house on the edge of the neighborhood where streetlights die early. You knock, nothing. You knock again, a shuffle, a lock unclicking. Then the door creaks open, just enough for a single eye to peer out. You shouldn't be here, Calder mutters. She came back. You say. The door closes. You hear the lock relatch. You wait. Then you hear it unlock again. He opens the door wider this time, just enough for you to see his face older, pale, more hunted than haunted. You saw her, he asks, voice almost hopeful, then terrified. Did she touch you? What? He steps back, lets you in. The place reeks of mothballs and fear. Windows blacked out with cardboard. Every mirror turned to the wall. She's not missing, he says, pacing. She never was, not in the way we understood. You toss him the glove. Recognize this. He holds it like it's a bomb. I thought I destroyed it. He whispers. You wait. Calder looks up at you. Do you remember what she said before she disappeared? You nod. She didn't say anything. Exactly, he says. Not one word. Not until the last time anyone saw her. Then she whispered something to the nurse at the clinic. Just 4 words. He sees the cracks. You want to ask what it means. But then something flickers on the wall. The TV? Static. Calder didn't touch the remote. The screen blinks. And there she is, on the screen, sitting in your office, from less than an hour ago, saying nothing, just watching. You turn to Calder. He's frozen. How, you ask? I don't know anymore, he says, but his hands are shaking. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You knew, but pretended you didn't. What if you've been the suspect all along? You shut off the TV. Hard. The screen goes black, but your pulse doesn't follow. Calder is pale, sweat glistening along his receding hairline. He's breathing like something's caught in his throat. Maybe a name he's too afraid to say. She was in my office. Calder, sitting there. Not a ghost, not a memory. Flesh, breath, a girl. He nods slowly, as if agreeing with a nightmare makes it fade. That's what I thought, too. The first time she came back, your stomach knots. You're telling me this happened to you. She comes back differently each time. Not older, just more aware. The first time, I thought it was trauma, that she'd escaped something and couldn't process it. But it's not that. It's like she remembers things you haven't told her yet. He walks to the window, peels back a flap of cardboard, stares out. Did she give you anything? He asks. You reach into your coat, retrieve the torn notebook she left behind. You haven't dared open it since. Calder takes it, with trembling fingers. His eyes scan the cover, worn leather. Brittle spine. No name. He opens it. His breath hitches. She left this exact notebook on my desk. Same scrawled symbols. Same missing pages. No names. No dates. Only the same phrase at the top of every page. You take the book and flip through. It's true. Like a mantra. Repeated again and again. It doesn't end when you find her. You pause at a page in the middle one you're sure wasn't there before. A sketch of a house. Crude, childlike lines. The windows crossed out. A tree in the front. A single word beneath it. Bellhaven. Your heart thuds. Bellhaven is a neighborhood across the river, abandoned since the flood. You haven't heard that name in years. She drew it. Calder says, the same house, but she told me you lived there. I've never even been there. You snap. Are you sure? He says it so simply, like you've confused addresses before, like your memory is suspect. You don't answer. There's something else in the notebook. A pressed leaf, red, maple, dry to the touch. You recognize it. You collected one just like it on the day the original case went cold. You kept it in your desk for months. A reminder. You lost track of it eventually. Assumed you tossed it. You didn't. She returned it. Back in your office. Everything feels wrong. The light bulb above your desk flickers now, though it worked fine before. Your chair has been moved slightly. The blinds are fully open. You step inside slowly, and that's when you notice the journal is back on the desk. But you left it with Calder. You approach like it might detonate. Open it. A new page. Your handwriting. A note you never wrote. Stop asking questions you already know the answers to. And beneath it, a date. Tomorrow, noon. Next to the date, Bellhaven. Again. You don't want to go, but you know you will. Because you're not just chasing her. Now you're chasing the version of yourself that she already knows. At night, you dream of voices in the walls. The rain turns to whispers. A girl's silhouette at your door. Over and over, never speaking. just watching. You wake before dawn. The journal is beside your pillow. Open, new page, a list of questions, in your voice, in your rhythm. Where was she all this time? Why is she not afraid? Why do I remember what she hasn't told me yet? What if I knew her before she went missing? The final question is underlined. Who's writing this story? You stare into the darkness of your apartment and suddenly realize you're not alone. You don't see her, but the air shifts, like someone exhaled behind you. You turn, nothing. The window's cracked open. Rain has come in, soaking the floor. A breeze toys with a strip of paper caught in the frame. You pull it free. Another line. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now you remember that phrase. It wasn't in the file. It was something you said to yourself out loud on the third night after she vanished. When you thought no one was listening, she heard it. How long has she been watching? You reach for the journal again, but it's gone. Not misplaced, vanished. In its place, a small key, old, brass, engraved with a single letter B. Bellhaven. Your reflection in the window isn't yours anymore. The posture, the tilt of the head, the smile, it's hers. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It doesn't end when you find her. Bellhaven looks like memory gone rotten. The neighborhood had been forgotten by the city after the flood left to mildew, rust, and collapse. Homes sag under broken roofs. Graffiti clings to water-stained brick, and trees have taken back the sidewalks like they never forgave humanity for moving in. You drive slowly, windows up, doors locked. Though you know locks don't matter in places like this. The sky is gray, heavy, the kind of sky that doesn't just threaten rain, it promises it. You follow the crude sketch from the notebook. Turn left at the shell of a corner store, right past a row of mailboxes with names long peeled away. And there it is, the house from the drawing. It shouldn't still be standing. It looks like it's been held together by rust and moss, and someone's unfinished guilt. 2 windows on the second floor are boarded up from the inside. The tree in front twisted, blackened is exactly as she drew it. And then you see it, taped to the front door. A photograph, your photograph, but it's not one you've ever seen. In it, you're standing at this very house. Same jacket, same posture, one hand raised like you're knocking. You've never been here before, you're sure. You tear the photo off the door, heart thudding. The back is blank, no date, no message. But now you're shaking, because the photograph doesn't look old. The paper is warm, as if it was just printed recently. You knock anyway. No answer. The door creaks open at your touch. Inside, the air is stale, damp. It smells like mold and old breath. You step into the foyer, footsteps echoing on warped wood. Each creak underfoot feels like a question. You try the light switch. Nothing. So you move forward in shadow. In the living room, everything is covered in white sheets, ghosts of furniture, still and waiting. On the mantel sits a snow globe, cracked. No water, just dust, and a tiny porcelain figure of a girl standing alone in a field. You lift it. A tiny strip of paper rests beneath it. You're not the only one who remembers. You pocket the message and step toward the hallway. A door at the end stands slightly ajar. You nudge it open. A study, empty shelves, a toppled lamp, and on the desk, a black and white photo, face down. You flip it over. It's her, the missing girl, but not like she is now, not like she was in your office. She's younger in this photo, hair shorter, her smile awkward, as if someone told her to fake it. But that's not what stops you. It's the man standing next to her. you, or someone who looks like you, too much like you, same jawline, same brow, but the timestamp in the corner is impossible. 1996. You were in high school, not a detective, not in this city, and this house didn't exist yet, or so you thought. You press your fingers to the photo. The ink smudges slightly, still fresh despite the date. You pocket it and step back, but your heel hits something on the floor, a trap door, painted over, but cracked. You drop to one knee and scrape back the dust and paint until the seam appears. You pull it open slowly. Wooden stairs descend into pitch black, and then, from below, a click, footsteps, something moving. You draw your gun, slowly descend. Each step groans. Dust clouds bloom in your wake. At the bottom, the basement is darker than it should be. The walls are lined with mirrors, all shrouded in sheets. You pull one off. You expect your reflection. What you get is her. She's standing behind you. You spin around. Nothing. You look back at the mirror. Now it's empty. Your reflection's returned, but slightly off. Your mouth is still. Your hands twitch, but the reflection smiles. And that's when you notice the detail you missed before. The photo you saw earlier, the one with you and the girl, it's now taped to the mirror's surface, but the girl has been scratched out, violently. Only your image remains. You reach to pull it off. The mirror cracks beneath your fingers. Just a hairline fracture, but it runs exactly across your face. You step back. Behind you, something falls. A notebook, the same one from earlier. You lift it, new page, new writing. You were never the investigator. Another sentence appears beneath it, as if ink is bleeding onto the page in real time. Check your left coat pocket. You freeze, slowly, cautiously. You reach into the coat you're wearing. There's something there, a cassette tape. You don't own a cassette player. You haven't since college. But scribbled on the tape in red marker, interview, 4:17. That's today. Your breath catches. You're not in control. You haven't been for a while. What if you've been the suspect all along? It was never about the truth. It was about control. The photograph shouldn't exist, but neither should you. You don't remember owning a cassette player, but you know exactly where to find one. In the city's evidence archives, deep beneath Precinct HQ, is a shelf of forgotten formats reel-to-reel decks, tape recorders, VHS machines, stuff they keep around for the odd cold case or stubborn old cop. It's past midnight by the time you slip inside. No one's at the desk. No cameras in this part of the basement you request years ago, under the guise of privacy for grieving families. Now, it's come full circle. You find a player, plug it in, slide the cassette into play. Fingers hesitate above the play button. Then you press it. Static, then a voice. Yours. Can you say your name for the record? Another voice follows. One you recognize too well. You already know my name. You've written it 100 times. The missing girl. No timestamp. No context. But this isn't some old file. You're not wearing a wire today. You didn't record this. Tell me what happened in Bellhaven. Your voice asks, it's where you left me. A pause. I didn't leave anyone. You did. In the mirror. You stopped the tape. Your reflection in the plexiglass nearby doesn't stop with you. You don't look again. Instead, you rewind search for something you missed. But as the reel clicks back into position, you hear something faint at the edge of the sound. A hum, a melody. You isolate it. A lullaby. Off-key. Familiar. You heard it once before, not long after she went missing. It played from a toy piano left anonymously at your doorstep. No fingerprints, no return address. You remember the tune, but never found the source. Now, It's back. You press play again. Do you remember the man with the green umbrella, she asks. Your voice hesitates. He isn't real. He watched you for months. That's not possible. He's still watching. You freeze. You'd almost forgotten. The green umbrella. The man who always appeared at the edge of your vision during the investigation. At cafes, on trains, across the street, pretending to read, always there, always turning away before you could confront him. You'd chalked it up to stress, guilt, exhaustion. But if she saw him too, your phone buzzes, an unknown number. You don't answer. Instead, you pull the message preview down. One new photo message. You open it. It's the alley behind the archive building. The photo is live motion caught in the moment. A man, green umbrella, standing just outside, looking up, looking right at you. You're moving before you decide to. The stairwell smells like mildew and ghost stories. You shove open the side exit into the alley. Heart pounding, empty. Rain begins again, soft, whispering against the pavement. No green umbrella, no man. But something's been left behind. Propped carefully against a dumpster is a child's music box, painted white, chipped at the edges. The ballerina inside is still spinning. You don't want to touch it. You do anyway. It plays the lullaby, exactly the same tune from the tape. You open the lid wider, taped inside a folded photograph of the man with the umbrella, but his face is scratched out, his silhouette shadowed against a mirror, and behind him, reflected in the glass, your face, smiling. You stumble back, drop the box. It lands with a clatter. The ballerina snaps. You pick up the photo, again, hands shaking. On the back, handwritten. The mirrors remember what we forget. Back in your car, you drive without thinking. Streetlights blur by, puddles flashing like eyes. You try to ground yourself. She came back. She sat in your office. She left you clues. That's all this is, post-trauma hallucination. Except you don't hallucinate photographs, and you don't hallucinate your own handwriting. You reach into your coat pocket again. A second tape. You're sure it wasn't there before. You squint at the label. Confession to one, not yours. Your knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. How many tapes are there and whose story are they telling? You don't remember falling asleep, but you wake just before dawn. Pulled from a dream you can't recall. Only the feeling that something watched you from beneath your own skin. You're parked outside your apartment. The car engine is cold. The rain has stopped, but your windshield is fogged over from the inside. You wipe it with your sleeve, and there, on the hood, is a single black feather. Not a bird in sight, just the feather, laid perfectly across your name on the registration tag. You step out, pick it up. Underneath is a third cassette. No label. You turn around, scan the street, empty, but in the window above your apartment, a silhouette, not moving, watching. You blink. It's gone. Your keys shake in your hand as you unlock the door. Inside, everything is as you left it, mostly, except for the mirror in your hallway. You covered it weeks ago out of superstition, maybe, or fear. But the sheet's been pulled down. Someone's written on the glass, in the condensation. Ask her about the photo. You wipe it away. Your reflection hesitates half a second longer than you do. You know what you'll do next. You'll find her again, or she'll find you. Because now, it's not about who went missing. It's about who was erased. You were never the investigator. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You don't sleep after that. You sit at your desk, cassette player humming beside you, the third tape lying like a loaded gun between your fingers. The absence of a label somehow feels heavier than any title. It's not a file. It's not a report. It's something else. A message. You press play. For a full minute, there's nothing but static. Then, the faintest distortion. Voices layered, fragmented. Some you recognize. Your own, hers, Calder's. A woman you've never heard before. This isn't the first time. Stop asking questions you already answered. I can't wake up until you remember me. You rewind, play it again. The voices shift like the tape is changing. Each playback yields slightly different words. Not mistakes, not errors, instructions. Ask about the voices on the wire. You freeze because you have heard voices on the recorder in your office. Snippets of conversation you never remembered having. Static-filled phrases muttered when the device was supposedly off. You thought it was a glitch. Background noise. You were wrong. You dig through your desk drawer and find the old recorder. Digital. Scratched. You power it on. Check the file list. There's a new one. Timestamp tomorrow. How is that possible? You hit play. Why did you lie about the basement? It's her. You were the last one to see me before I disappeared. Don't you remember? You left the mirror open. Then your voice replies. Your voice, but you haven't said these words. I didn't think you'd follow me through. Follow you through what? You stare at the recorder like it might sprout teeth. There's a sound beneath her voice low, rhythmic, almost mechanical, a rotary dial turning, a phone. You drive across town to an address that keeps repeating in your head, 7 Armitage Lane. You don't know why it's familiar. You've never had a case here, but something keeps pushing you toward it. The building is old red brick, half its windows shattered, the kind of place that still remembers the Great Depression like it was yesterday. The sign above the doorway is long faded, but if you squint, you can make out Metropolitan Bell Exchange, a phone company, or what used to be one. The front door is unlocked. You step into the darkness. Inside, the air smells of rust and insulation. Cabinets of ancient switchboards line the hall, wires snaking across the floor like veins beneath old skin. This is where the voices came from. This is where they still live. You wander deeper. Your flashlight cuts through the dust in slow, deliberate beams. On a wall to your left, someone has pinned pages, dozens of them, typed transcripts. Each begins with the same words, intercepted. Wire room echo, number 17. The voices match the ones from the cassette. They've been collected, categorized, studied, and next to them, photos. Oliver, same face, different clothes, different cities, dates spanning over a decade. She doesn't age. There's one photo that stops your breath. She's sitting on a park bench, smiling, reading a book. Your book, a journal you wrote privately, years ago. Never published, never even shared. How did she get it? You follow the trail of papers until you reach a door labeled Echo Room. Inside, a massive switchboard, half dismantled, a tangle of wires hanging like entrails. But in the center of the room, taped to the panel, is a message scrawled in red ink. They're not listening to you. You're listening to them. And below it, a telephone receiver, ringing. You don't want to answer. Every bone in your body screams to leave. You pick it up. Silence. Then a whisper. You left the line open. That's how they got in. The line clicks dead. You stumble back. The room spins. The walls close in. Your phone buzzes again. Another photo message. This one is different. It's a close-up, a mirror, cracked, and in the reflection your office, your desk, and her, sitting in your chair, smiling. She's not alone. A man stands behind her, green umbrella resting on his shoulder. You drop the phone, back away slowly. Something about that building feels alive, like it's remembering things you haven't yet. You return home, The mirror in your hallway is fully uncovered now, words etched into the glass. You never stopped the recording. It's your own handwriting. Your phone vibrates. Another voice memo has appeared. You hit play. You hear footsteps behind you. You don't turn around. You never do. A chill races down your spine. You spin in place. No one there, but on your couch, sitting exactly where you left the case files, the notebook, back again, open, new entry. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The missing girl was never missing. You just stopped looking inward. You stare into the mirror again, and this time, your reflection doesn't blink, doesn't move, but it smiles. You knew, but pretended you didn't. It doesn't end when you find her. What if the voices were yours, trying to warn yourself you're losing track of time? You know, because your kitchen clock is stuck at 3:17 morning or afternoon. You can't tell. The battery's fine. The hands just won't move, and neither will your reflection. It still stares back from the hallway mirror, still wearing your clothes, still shaped like you, but now its expression changes while yours remains blank. Now it's waiting. You avoid looking at it directly. You move through your apartment as if it might notice you more if you acknowledge it, but its presence hangs there, quiet, patient. And then your phone rings. Unknown caller, of course. You answer. There's only a single word. Bellhaven. You're about to respond, but the call ends. No voice. Just that one word, and now it's there again. Inside you, a constant echo. Bellhaven, Bellhaven. Not the neighborhood, the word. Like it's a code, a password, or a door. You open your notebook, flipping through the increasingly nonsensical scrawls, symbols, repetitions, and there, wedged between pages you don't remember writing, is a map, drawn in pencil, smudged. It's a house, not the one from earlier, a different house. This one has a gate, labeled "Do Not Open Until It's Too Late." And inside, a room memory lock. There's an X in the corner. Next to it, ask her about the locked room in her mind. You stare at the map until your eyes blur. Then your doorbell buzzes. You don't move. It buzzes again. You grab your gun, slowly approach, look through the peephole. No one. You open the door anyway, and on the floor, perfectly centered on the welcome mat, a small locked wooden box. A note taped to it reads, "You need the key." You have a key, the old brass one with the letter B etched into it. You take it from your coat pocket, though you don't remember putting it there, and fit it into the lock. It turns. Inside the box, a single audio tape, reel to reel. You don't have the machine for it, but you know who does. Calder. He answers the door, this time without hesitation, like he's been waiting. "You brought something," he says, not asking. You show him the box, the tape, the map. He stares at it all for a long moment, then disappears into the other room. Returns carrying a dusty old reel player. You watch as he loads the tape with the care of a surgeon, then presses play. Static, then a voice. Her voice, but it's younger. Not the calm, measured version you spoke with days ago. This is before she vanished. He doesn't believe me. No one does. There's a room I keep forgetting. Every time I try to talk about it, something moves behind my eyes. It's like something was left behind in there, something watching. A pause, then another voice joins. Yours. You don't remember this conversation. What's in the room? Not what, when. Calder stiffens. I've heard that line before, he mutters, but not from her. He reaches into his drawer, pulls out a yellowed folder. Inside, another transcript. A different missing persons case, different name, different town, but the same quote, verbatim. There's a room I keep forgetting. Not what, when. This is a pattern, Calder says, voice tight. The same language, the same rhythm. They all came back saying the same things. You ask, there were others, he whispers. Girls, boys, a handful. Not all connected, but each one vanished, only to reappear later, with memories that didn't match their timelines. Sketches of rooms that don't exist anymore. Stories that belong to other people. And no one connected the dots. He meets your eyes. I did. He says, that's why I broke. Back in your apartment, night falls like an ambush. You pour a drink something dark and sharp, then sit in silence. The mirror in the hallway is uncovered again. Of course it is. You walk to it slowly. This time, your reflection is missing entirely. It's just the hallway behind you, your desk, the lamp, but not you. You wave, nothing. You press your palm to the glass, and suddenly your reflection returns, not matching your movements, just staring at you, smiling faintly. Then its lips move. You can't hear it, but it's mouthing something. 3 words, behind the drawer. You step back, go to your desk, pull open the bottom drawer. Nothing but old paper. You feel around the back. There taped underneath is a cassette. Small. No label. No notes. Just waiting. You slide it into your old player. Her voice again. If you're listening to this, I hope you didn't follow me through. I hope you stayed where it's safe. But if you didn't, the locked room in my memory is yours, too. Then silence, and the ticking of a clock, but not yours. You look up, glance at the wall clock, still stuck at 3:17. But the ticking continues. You turn around. It's coming from the hallway. You follow the sound. The mirror, it's ticking. And now, written across the surface in fog, do you remember now? You never stopped recording. It was never about her being missing. It was about you forgetting. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You don't want to look into the mirror anymore, not because of what's there, but because of what isn't. Your reflection has stopped trying to be you. It stands behind glass, like it's tired of pretending. You stare at it, and it stares through you. The ticking continues, and the crack, you didn't notice it before. A hairline fracture across the top left corner, just like the one in the basement mirror at Bellhaven. But this time, it's spreading, slowly, quietly, like it's growing. You reach for the surface, your fingertip barely grazes it, and the mirror fogs instantly, like it breathes you in. Then, new writing appears. You saw it, you heard it, but you told yourself it wasn't there. Your mind flashes to the night she went missing, the hallway camera footage, the 3-second blackout no one could explain, the window that opened by itself, the drawer that wouldn't stay closed. You chalked it all up to trauma, unreliable memory. Now, you're starting to think memory was never yours to rely on. Your phone buzzes. A new message. Unknown sender. Check the mirror at 3:17. You glance at the wall clock, still frozen, but the mirror. You stare at it until the minute hand in your mind's eye lands on the cursed number. The reflection flickers. Once, twice, and then it changes. Not just you. The entire room behind you. The desk, the furniture, gone. Now the reflection shows a girl. Her, sitting in a padded chair, in a white room. Fluorescent lights above. Her eyes wide but distant. A window behind her. A one-way mirror. She turns toward you. Toward the mirror. But not surprised. Not afraid. Like she expected you. And for the first time, you realize you're not looking at her reflection. You're looking into something else. She opens her mouth. You can't hear her, but behind her, the one-way mirror in her room begins to crack. You back away, nearly trip over the edge of the hallway rug. You need out. You need clarity. You grab the map she drew, the one with the X and the note. Ask her about the locked room in her mind. Calder said others spoke the same phrase. But you never asked the most obvious question. What room? So you return to the place where this started, your office. The chair she sat in still holds a slight indentation. You sit down, and this time you listen. No questions, no assumptions, just the weight of the silence. That's when you hear it. The hum, low, electric, vibrating through the floorboards. You kneel, ear to the carpet. It's faint, but steady, not mechanical, organic. You pull the rug aside, and there, barely noticeable, a trapdoor. Not in any blueprint, not in any memory. You pry it open. Wooden stairs lead down into what should be the foundation, but you don't remember this. You descend. The air thickens. The walls narrow. Then it opens into a space you can't explain. Mirrors, dozens, some cracked, some pristine, each tilted at slightly wrong angles, reflecting nothing clearly. Reflections that don't match their origins. One shows you standing at a window, another you asleep in your car, but one shows her, sitting in the padded chair. Again, only this time, she's older. Your age. She looks straight into the mirror, speaks. You can hear her now. They said it was my mind, but it was always his. He left the room open. I found what was inside. Now I can't forget. The mirror begins to vibrate, and behind her, a door opens. You see yourself walking into the white room. Suit, badge, gun. Her voice continues. You ask questions you were never meant to. You opened files you shouldn't have. You found me, but you didn't recognize yourself. The version of you on the other side leans toward her, says something you can't hear. She flinches, and then the mirror cracks straight down the center. You're back in your basement, alone, but you feel something behind you. You turn. The real mirror on the wall now shows her handwriting. He's still in there. I just came to warn you. You reach toward the message. Your fingertips smear it. Red, not ink, blood. No, paint. And beneath the paint letters, scratched in reverse. The door never closed. You stagger upstairs. Your office door swings shut behind you without being touched. You turn back. A woman stands in the corner. Damp hair, eyes that don't blink. The girl but older, or younger. Or maybe it's not her. Maybe it's you. You step forward. Slowly. She doesn't move. She just watches, then says softly, "It's not about remembering. It's about choosing which memory wins." You ask her what that means, but the lights flicker, and she's gone. You rush to the desk. The notebook is open again. One page, written in fresh ink. You were the one who disappeared. Your heart pounds. Your reflection nods, smiles, and cracks again. Everyone lies, especially the quiet one. You knew, but pretended you didn't. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You start with the files, again, because that's what you've always done. Control the chaos by naming it, box it, tag it, build a timeline, build a map. But the timeline doesn't make sense anymore. There are gaps in the case records, not the kind that get overlooked, the kind that rewrite themselves. Witness names you don't recognize, interview dates that predate the disappearance, an autopsy report that was never filed, but the form is signed by you. You never performed an autopsy. She wasn't dead, was she? You read every page until the words lose meaning. But one detail stops you. Her real name. Not the Jane Doe ID, not the alias. Her real name scrawled in faint pencil on the back of a photograph you've never seen before. One of the ones taped inside the file. Mara Verity. The word verity hits something deep in your chest. It means truth. But that's not why it unsettles you. It's because you've seen that name before. On an envelope, in your own mailbox. 6 months ago. No return address. No letter inside. Just the name. You kept it. Tucked it in your desk drawer. You thought it was a mistake. A ghost from a neighbor's mail route. You never connected it. You take the envelope out now. Same handwriting as the one on the photo. You match them side by side. Same slant. Same curve. Same ink. And as your eyes drift back to the photo, you realize you're in the background. Again, but not looking at her. Looking directly at the camera. You take the files and go. To the only place left. Back to Calder's. But this time, he's not there. Door unlocked. Inside, the TV's on, blaring static. All the mirrors in his house are shattered. Every single one. Glass crunches beneath your boots as you walk through the hallway. On the coffee table, the journal, the one she gave you, open to a page you haven't seen before. Her name isn't just a name. It's the question you never asked. A red thread is looped around the page's spine. You pull it gently. It unravels the binding. And inside the hollowed spine of the book, a USB stick, unmarked. You pocket it, then hear the creak. From the back room, you draw your weapon. Call out Calder's name. No response. You move slowly. The door is cracked open. Inside, empty, except for a mirror leaning against the far wall, covered in sheets, one corner exposed. A single word written in the dust. Why? You rip off the sheet, and this time, the reflection isn't just you. It's your office armchair, and her, seated, still, as if she never left. But behind her stands a man, half in shadow. You can only see his shoulder, the outline of his hand resting on the back of her chair. You lean closer. The reflection doesn't react, but something else does. The mirror shifts, like the image is being recorded in real time. The girl stands, walks to the reflection, and places her hand against the glass. Right where yours is, you freeze, because you feel it. Not warmth, not skin, a pulse. One beat, two. Then she whispers, and this time you hear it directly. I'm not the one who's missing. You are. The mirror goes dark. You leave Calder's. Call his phone. Disconnected. You text. No read receipt. You call your own voicemail. There's a message waiting. Left at 3:17 a.m. The same time the clock froze. You press play. You should have closed the room. It's still leaking. Do you remember your partner's name? You never filed the report, did you? You dropped the phone? Because now it's bleeding together. The files, the evidence, the memories. You pull up the partner roster from that year. There's a blank spot where your partner's name should be. Every report marked joint investigation. No other signature. You don't remember their name. Not because you forgot, because maybe they never existed. Back home, you plug in the USB, one folder, titled Verity, inside dozens of photos of you, candid, from across the street, in your office, at home, asleep. Then, folders marked with initials, J.D. 703, J.D. 705, J.D. 708, all girls, all missing, all returned. Some of them with case files you wrote, but they don't remember you, not the way she does. You open one last file, a video, grainy footage of an interrogation room. You're seated at the table. She sits across from you. Do you know why you're here, you ask? Do you? She smiles. You're not investigating. You're repeating. This isn't the first loop. Just the first one you got this far. The video glitches. Repeats the word loop again and again. Then the screen freezes on a frame. Her finger pointed directly at the lens. Mouth moving. You read the words on her lips. You're in the mirror. You were never the one looking through the glass. You were always the one inside it. The room wasn't locked. You were. You try to piece it all together, but the pieces don't fit anymore. The narrative fractures every time you push too hard. Lillian Cross wasn't just a missing girl. She was a mirror, a code, a story written backwards so no one would read it right. You pace your apartment, the old ledger open on the desk, pages fluttering in a draft you can't trace. Every time you look away, they flip again, landing on different cases, different names, but the same phrases. Memory lock, handler compromised, echo protocol activated. The names change, but the pattern doesn't. And then, in the bottom margin of a random page, in red ink, you are not exempt. You slam the book shut. You need to clear your head, find reality again, but it won't let you. It's in the mirrors, in the shadows, in the ticking clock that's been frozen for days. You grab your phone, scroll through the photos again. The one of your reflection smiling without you. The one of her in your chair. The one you just took of the ledger, except it's gone, replaced by a new one, taken from behind you. Someone stood in your apartment, took a photo of you, reading the ledger. You spin, nothing. You check the doors, all locked. You move to the mirror. This time, you're in it again. You lift your hand, so does it. But something's wrong. The left hand in the mirror holds a cigarette. You haven't smoked since last week. You wave. It matches, but slower, a fraction behind. Then it lifts its other hand, holds up a key, not the brass one from Bellhaven, a different key, silver, smooth, labeled 125 Loxis. It mouths something. You write it down, word by word. The room isn't locked. You are. That's when you remember something Calder said, back in his dim little apartment, among the boarded windows and turned mirrors. She told me the real locked room isn't a place. It's a decision. You didn't understand it then. Now you do. The locked room isn't in Bellhaven. It's not under your office. It's not even inside Lillian Cross. It's in you. Somewhere along the line, you stopped being the investigator. You became the file, the subject, the test. And the only way to escape is to remember what you agreed to forget. You opened the bottom drawer of your desk, the one where the red-threaded glove appeared, the one where the notebook reappeared. There's something new, a red envelope, no stamp, no return address. Inside a single photograph, you and a little girl, not Lillian, someone else. She's holding your hand. You're standing in front of a large building, some kind of institutional campus. Stone walls, long windows. On the back, April 17th. She was 8. You were supposed to protect her. A date. Your sister's birthday. And then it hits you. Lillian Cross wasn't just a case. She was part of the same system, the same place. You didn't lose your sister to an accident. You brought her there. You volunteered. You agreed. You rushed to your safe, dial the code, pull out a file you've never dared open. It's marked closed. A.R. Program. Agent transfer. Inside a consent form, signed by you. Years ago, you can't read most of it. The words bend and shudder, like they're trying to remain unseen. But one phrase is clear. Subject, integration. Memory, mirroring authorized. Subject, mirroring. That's why she looks at you like that. Not like a victim. Not like someone who needed saving. Like someone who's been you. Your phone buzzes again. No number. Just a message. You asked who's writing this story. Then another. What if it was always her? Then the file attachment comes through. An audio recording. You press play. It's her voice. You needed someone to carry the weight. You couldn't live with what you did. So you fractured. You made a story where you were the rescuer. You buried me in it. And now I've come back not to haunt you, to wake you up. The recording ends. You don't move. Because you remember now. The girl you brought to the facility wasn't Lillian. It was your sister. Lillian was the one who stayed behind. The one who watched. The one who took on the parts of you that couldn't survive. Until the mirror cracked. And you started looking back. The hallway mirror is black now. No reflection. Just a wall of still glass. You step closer. Your breath fogs the surface. And then, etched in fresh condensation, there's still time to choose who finishes the story. Your hands shake because you're not sure if you're the author or just the unreliable narrator. Everyone lies, especially to themselves. It wasn't about the truth. It was about escaping the weight of it. You asked who disappeared. Maybe it was you all along. You sit in the dark for what feels like hours. No music, no movement, just the ticking that doesn't come from the clock anymore. It's inside you now, like the second hand is buried behind your ribs. You finally stand, walk to the mirror. Your reflection returns, but subtly wrong. A smirk on its lips when yours stay neutral. A light behind its eyes that you no longer recognize. It tilts its head, as if listening. You don't hear anything. Then, faintly, from somewhere in your apartment, a whir. You follow the sound to your desk. Your old digital recorder off is now blinking. Recording. You didn't press anything. You hit play. He's watching through the footage now. He knows which scenes you skip. You didn't notice what was missing. Not really. Because you never listened to the quiet. Then static. You check the device's files. One you haven't seen before. Interview room 07M40. You press play. A voice crackles into life. Hers, Lillian's, calmer than ever. I told you this wasn't about me. It's about the footage. The footage you lost. The one you pretend was corrupted. She pauses. Then a different voice joins. Yours, but off. More detached. Unfeeling. We deleted that file. No, she says. You buried it. You rewind. Replay. Again and again. Something inside that silence is clawing to the surface. You remember a tape from the day she vanished. Security footage from the clinic. A hallway camera. Glitched. Missing 12 seconds. You blamed the system. You were the one who filed the report. Now, you're not sure you ever watched those 12 seconds. You find the archived drive. It takes hours. Buried in a cardboard box, marked Case Non-Conclusive, Internal. The tape was digitized, then sealed. No reason given, just a sticker. Observer flagged Class D, review. You never knew what Class D meant. You do now. You load the footage. Grainy, black and white. A hallway with flickering lights. Time. Stamp 4:32 a.m. April 17th. You fast forward to the gap. The place where the feed stuttered. 32:15 frozen. 32:28. Restart. You rewind, frame by frame. And there between the flickers a shape. A door opening, but not one in the hallway. A door in the mirror on the wall, across from the camera. A figure walks through it. Not Lillian, not you, but close. The same shape, the same posture. Someone halfway between. The footage jitters. The mirror cracks. Then the figure looks at the camera. Smiles. You pause the footage. Your finger hovers over the print screen key, but the file crashes. Gone. Replaced by static. and the phrase, "no recording device can hold what was erased." You sit back and realize the cracked mirror in the footage, the one on the clinic wall, is identical to the one now hanging in your hallway. Same fracture line, same left-hand curve, same angle. You aren't hallucinating, you're looping. You rush to the hallway, face the mirror. It reflects nothing, black again, until it flickers, and a new scene emerges. Your office, nighttime, you at the desk, but you're not alone. She's there, standing behind you. No shadow, just presence. She leans down and whispers something into your ear. You see your body jolt, slightly. Then your reflection turns to the mirror and smiles, not at itself, at you, the real you, watching from the other side. You stumble back, turn to the desk. The notebook is open again, the ink still wet. You never asked why your memory was so detailed. Who's watching through your eyes? You slam it shut, panic rising, breath short. You search for something tangible. You find the photograph, the one from Belhaven. You hold it up, tilt it. In the window of the house behind you, there's a reflection of her, standing in the window, even though, in your memory, she was never there. Your memories are being overwritten. Your reflections are writing you. You return to the mirror. This time, you ask aloud, "Why me?" A pause. Then, in faint condensation, because you were the first to look back. Then more appears, like breath etching across glass. This was never about who vanished. It was about who returned. You reach out, touch the mirror again, but this time, your fingers don't meet cold glass. They sink slightly, as if pressing into water. You hesitate, pull back. The surface ripples. Then, a hand presses back. Not yours, hers, smaller, paler, fingers stained with ink. She mouths something. You read it. "I can't hold this anymore. You need to take it back." You were never investigating her. She was unraveling you. You weren't looking for a missing person. You were recovering a missing identity. And the only thing keeping the truth out was the mirror you refused to break. You stare at the hand in the mirror, her hand pressing into yours through the thin, shifting veil between the glass and whatever lies on the other side. It's colder than you expect, not lifeless, but faintly electric, like touching the edge of a dream you'd almost remembered. Her fingers wrap gently around yours, not pulling, offering, and with that contact, everything rushes back. Not images, not memories, feelings. The chair under fluorescent lights, a notebook you never got to keep. The questions they asked, again and again, until you gave answers that didn't belong to you. A name written on a door you weren't supposed to open. Verity. You pull your hand away. The mirror holds the ripple for a moment longer, then goes dark again, but your hand still tingles. You walk to your desk. The notebook is open. Unprompted, of course. This time, the page is numbered Echo 12 transcript fragment. It reads like a conversation. One half in bold, one half yours. You said you were gone. Gone is a shape, not a place. Then where were you? I waited inside the space where no one asks questions. Is that Belhaven? No. That was your explanation. Then what is this? This is the story you made so you wouldn't have to tell the truth. You close the book because you know now Lillian never disappeared. You did. She became the file, the face on the flyer, the story that let you disappear behind your role, the hero who failed, the investigator who cared too much. But you weren't looking for her. You were looking for permission to forget. You drive. It's raining again. Of course it is. The streets gleam like memory half clear, half lost. You follow the route on autopilot, turning down side roads you don't recall choosing. You park in front of a building you shouldn't remember but do. An old brick structure, windowless, long since condemned. You know it instantly. This is where she waited, where they kept the memories, where you first saw the mirror crack. Inside, it's silent. No dripping, no power hum, just silence. And in that silence, a sense of direction, like something behind the walls is breathing toward you, drawing you in. You reach a stairwell, follow it down, into the dark. In the basement, you find a corridor lined with mirror glass, dozens, floor to ceiling, but none of them show you. Each one shows a version of her. Young, older, blank-faced, laughing, screaming, sleeping, each one frozen in a loop. You walk past them slowly, and behind the reflections, a shadow follows, not quite in sync, like someone pacing just beneath the image. Then you reach the last mirror. It's the same cracked pane from your apartment, from the hallway, from the footage. This is the original. At its center, a chair, occupied, you, or a version of you, tied at the wrists, eyes open, blinking, and behind that version of you, Lillian, standing silent, watching. She leans in toward the mirror. Her lips move. It's time to come back. The light around you shudders. The air goes still, and a door behind the mirror creaks open, in the glass, not in the room. But somehow, you know, it's your door, the one you closed years ago when you made the deal to forget, to bury what happened, to become the one who asked the questions instead of answering them. You step forward. Your hand reaches toward the glass. The moment your palm touches it, everything floods. She wasn't just a missing girl. She was the container, the mirror, the place where your guilt was stored, the agreement made in silence, the truth you rewrote. You open your eyes. You're in your The clock on the wall reads 3:18. It's ticking again. The mirror in the hallway is intact. No messages, no cracks. You rise slowly, unsure if it's over or if you've simply been allowed to remember just enough. You look to the desk. The notebook is gone. In its place, a photograph of you, smiling, sitting across from her. No timestamp, no label, but written in faint pencil across the bottom. Some lies protect the truth, others replace it. You open your phone. No new messages, no static recordings, just one new note, auto-saved. I was never the investigator. Everyone lies, especially the quiet one. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The mirror didn't show what was real. It showed what you needed to believe. You don't go back to the precinct. You should file something, a report, a statement, anything to make it real. But the story wouldn't make sense on paper. Not without mirrors. Not without the lies that held everything together. Instead, you walk, for hours, through streets that look vaguely familiar, but slightly wrong. Trees too tall. Storefronts too quiet. People's eyes linger half a second too long before darting away. Like they recognize you. Like they've heard something. You duck into a diner. The kind that still uses paper menus and smells like burnt coffee and endings. You sit by the window, ask for nothing. The waitress slides you a cup anyway. Black, no cream, no sugar. The way you used to drink it. You look up to ask how she knew, but she's already walking away. On the table, a receipt, no total. Just 3 words, scrawled in blue ink. The basement breathes. You leave a tip you can't afford and walk out. Bellhaven is even worse in daylight. Exposed, rotting. The house waits at the end of the cul-de-sac, same as before. The porch still leans like it's trying to whisper a secret to the dirt. But there's no door now, just a jagged frame and the cold beyond. You step inside. The shadows are different, deeper, still. You descend the stairs without hesitation this time. No flashlight. You don't need it. You remember this place now. The room with the mirrors, the floorboards that creak even when you're standing still, the low, constant hum that vibrates inside your teeth, but never echoes. It's not sound, it's presence. And in the middle of the room, exactly where you saw it in the footage, sits a chair, not the padded one. This is older, wooden, rough. You approach slowly. On the seat, a file folder, stamped AR, mirror cycle, phase 3. You open it, and what you see unravels everything. Photos, logs, voice transcripts, but not of her, of you. Subjects referred to by initials, MV, JD712, JD709, AR01. But in the margins, tiny notes, notations of behavior, dreams, recurring symbols, a section labeled delusion, inversion, case progression in subject AR, identifies as investigator, protects constructed narrative, avoids mirrored surfaces except when triggered, constructs identity from cases rather than self, possible boundary, bleed with subject MV. You feel sick because you're not reading someone else's file. You're reading your own. You were the one under observation. She was the control. You drop the file. A photograph flutters out. You bend to pick it up. It's her. You. Both. Standing in front of the same mirror, half of each face missing, the other half aligned perfectly. One person, two versions. One who remembers, one who forgets. You run your thumb over the edge of the photograph. There's an imprint. Raised letters, like something pressed from underneath. You hold it up to the light. A single phrase appears, faint and shaking. The version of you that remembers is watching. You take out your phone, record a voice memo. You don't know why. Just instinct. If this is real, if any of it is real, I need to remember that she wasn't the danger. I was. You pause. Then add, every missing person is also someone searching. Maybe I've been missing longer than I thought. You hit save. The file name auto-generates Verities01. You didn't type that. Back in your apartment, the mirror in the hallway is gone. Not broken, not covered, just missing. A gap in the wall like it never existed. In its place, a key, hanging from a nail, silver, smooth, like the one the reflection showed you, labeled A.R. Final entry. You pick it up, and that's when you see the mark beneath it. A small, almost invisible indentation in the drywall. A number, 712. Jane Doe. Her number, your number, both. You sit down. No lights, no sound. You close your eyes and let the questions come. How many versions of you are still playing this story? How many mirrors did they build before one cracked wide enough to slip through? Who was the first to realize that forgetting was easier than facing it? You hear a whisper. No source, no breath, just language, curling around your ribs like smoke. There is no ending, only the version that walks away. You breathe deep. Open your notebook one final time. A fresh page is already written. If you're reading this, it means you came back, but you left someone behind. You, the original, the witness, the liar. The next line appears slowly, like it's being written in real time. She's still waiting, and the mirror isn't finished. Everyone lies, especially the ones who remember. You weren't looking for the missing girl. You were searching for the version of you that survived. And the scariest thing, she found you first. The apartment is too quiet now. Even the hum from the refrigerator, the creak in the pipes gone, as if the space itself is holding its breath. You stand in front of the empty wall where the mirror once hung, the key still cold in your hand. The silver tag etched with your initials feels heavier than it should. R. You always told yourself that stood for your badge ID, internal designation, but now it feels like something else, like a warning. You turn the key over. The back of the tag has something new, etched so faintly it catches only at the right angle. Memory lock, 3rd floor, east wing. The words aren't familiar, but the shape of them is, because you've seen them before once, on the back of a burned folder retrieved from a hospital fire, and again, scribbled in the margins of Calder's final report before he disappeared, both times, next to one name Verity. It takes you hours to track it down. The building, what's left of it, is part of a shuttered psychiatric research institute just outside the city limits. No power, no staff, decommissioned, or so the reports say. You hop the rusted fence, walk through knee-high weeds and a parking lot filled with broken glass and wind-scattered leaves. Inside, the smell hits first. Old metal, burned paper, dust soaked with time. You flash your light across the entryway. The front desk is caved in. Patient charts still lie scattered across the floor, pages warped by years of silence. You find the stairwell, 3 flights up, each step louder than the last, as if the building knows. 3rd floor, east wing. You find it almost instantly. A door with a faded sign, memory lock room, AR. The key slides into the lock like it was never meant for anything else. You turn it, the door groans open, and what waits inside stops your breath. A room full of mirrors, each one pointed inward, toward a single chair at the center, wooden, familiar. On the seat, a tape recorder, no cassette, just the device. Beside it, a single sheet of paper. You unfold it, a note, in your handwriting. You don't remember writing it. This is where you agreed to forget. This is where you made her carry it. You sit. The mirrors don't reflect you. They reflect her. Different versions, asleep, awake, crying, cold. In one, she's a child. In another, she's your age. In all of them, she's watching you. And then the recorder clicks. On. But you didn't press anything. Your own voice comes through. From another time. From before. I can't hold it anymore. I'm giving it to her. Erase the record. Lock the memory. Let the story rewrite itself. Let me disappear into the version that makes sense. Then a different voice. Lillian's. You can give it to me, but someday I'll give it back. And when I do, you'll have to decide whether to keep it or finally look in the mirror. The tape stops. No click. Just silence. You stare at the mirrors. They begin to flicker, one by one, showing you, but not the version sitting now. Versions from every loop. Standing in your office, running through Bellhaven, shouting into a phone, smiling in the footage, crying on the stairwell. Versions who knew, and one by one, they look toward you, then vanish, until only one remains, her. Not the girl, not the victim, not even the mirror. You, yourself, at the moment you first chose to forget, sitting in this very chair, saying the words that turned truth into a case file and guilt into mythology. The figure in the mirror leans forward, says, "You made me real, so you didn't have to be." You rise. The recorder is smoking now. You back away as it sparks and dies. And from behind the mirrors, a low groan, like the building exhaling. You rush down the stairs, back into the dusk. The air outside tastes like ash. You don't look back. That night, your apartment feels different. Familiar again, but not safe. You place the silver key on your desk. Set a new notebook beside it. This time, it's blank. You pick up a pen and write one sentence. The mirror didn't lie. It only showed what I refused to see. You walk past your hallway wall one last time. Where the mirror used to be, there's something new, etched into the paint. You run your fingers across it. Letters carved delicately, almost lovingly. Everyone lies. Especially the ones who mean well. Especially the ones who need to forget. Especially you. The case was never hers. It was yours. And now, it's closed. It's morning now. Real morning. Not that warped, eerie stretch of time you've been stumbling through. The sun actually rises. Light spills across your floor. And for once, it feels like light, not an interrogation. You sit with coffee that's too bitter, too black, too familiar. You don't drink it. You just hold the warmth. The notebook sits open beside you. First page filled, second page waiting. You haven't touched the pen since writing that first line. The mirror didn't lie. It only showed what I refused to see. You read it again, and something stirs. Not guilt, not panic, ownership. You look at the wall where the mirror used to hang. Just plaster now. No trace of glass. No fracture. No threat. But your mind flickers with images like broken film. The hallway at the clinic. The cracked basement mirror. Your own face watching from the other side. You pick up the pen again. Begin to write. Her name wasn't a clue. It was a dare. Verity. Truth. But not hers. Mine. You stop. Because there's a sound. 3 knocks. Slow. Even. Deliberate. You don't check the peephole this time. You already know. You open the door. She stands there. Same coat. Same calm. But now, her eyes don't search your space. They look directly at you. No pretense. You step aside. She enters. Sits in the chair across from the desk like she never left it. I wanted to see if you'd remember. She says. You nod. I do now. She places something on the table. A small photograph. Weathered. Corner soft. It's you. Younger. Sitting in a white room. She's in the background. Watching through glass. You don't remember this moment, but you do remember the feeling. You were already unraveling before I showed up. She says, I just helped you notice. You stare at the photo. Why me, you ask? She tilts her head because you kept asking questions no one else would, even when you knew the answers would cost you. She opens her coat, pulls out the red threaded glove, places it next to the photo. Calder tried to warn you. She says, but he asked the wrong thing. You already know what she means. He asked where you disappeared. But the real question was, when? When was the first time you let someone else tell you who you were? You think back to your first big case, the one that burned out your idealism, the one they praised you for because you didn't question the gaps in the report, because you let the story make sense, even when it didn't feel right, because you played the part. And when that role became unbearable, you built a new one, the haunted detective, the seeker of missing girls, the mirror gazer, all of it a way to bury the first fracture, the original absence. You lean back, ask, are you still missing? She smiles. No, she says, you are. You stand, walk to the desk, slide open the top drawer. Inside another photograph. You didn't put it there. It shows the two of you seated exactly as you are now. But in the reflection on the glass frame, you're alone. No sign of her. You look up. She's still there. But now, her face is different. Softened. Relieved. Like something's been passed on. Like her job is done. You're not here to haunt me. You say, No, she replies. I'm here to leave. You blink. She's gone. You stare at the photograph again, and for the first time, you notice what's written in the margin. Faint. In the handwriting you've finally come to accept as your own. Truth isn't a destination. It's a choice you keep making. You pick up the pen. Write on the next line of the notebook, I am not missing. And below it, but I am unfinished. You close the book. The apartment is quiet again, but this time, it feels like you're quiet. Not borrowed from someone else's trauma. Not stitched together with mystery. Just silence. A beginning, not an ending. The wall where the mirror once hung will stay bare, not because you're afraid, but because you don't need it anymore. You've looked through the glass. You saw what was missing. And now, finally you're here. Everyone lies, especially the ones afraid of being seen. But when the mirror disappears, there's nothing left to hide behind. Only you, whole, cracked, watching back. It starts with a thread, literally, red, frayed, resting on your pillow when you wake. You pick it up, run it through your fingers. It's the same thread she pulled from her coat pocket back in your office, back when you still thought she was the missing girl, back when you were still pretending the story had boundaries. But it wasn't just a detail, not just symbolic. The thread was tracking you, connecting the loops. Each version of her that appeared, each memory fragment, each mirror glitch, each unanswered knock, they were all threaded together by this one, impossibly small, impossibly consistent line. You realize now this isn't a thread, it's a breadcrumb, and you've been following it backwards through your own life. You revisit the places. First, the Bellhaven basement. This time, the chair is gone. Only mirrors remain, cracked, fogged, humming low in a rhythm that's almost human. You sit on the ground, facing one that hasn't shattered. You wait, and the mirror flickers. Then you see her again, older than before, wearing a coat that looks like yours, hair pulled back, same calm gaze, only this time, she's the one watching, not trapped, not confused, observing, as if you're the variable now. Then she lifts her hand, holds something between her fingers, a thread, red, frayed. She ties it to her wrist, smiles, and vanishes. You glance down. The thread on your own wrist is suddenly longer, tighter, next your office. You thought it was a place of control, a fortress of facts. But when you walk in, the space has changed. The photo on your wall of the missing girl has been replaced with a photo of you and a case file titled Subject A.R. Retention Integrity. At risk. You open it. It's not written in your hand, not Calder's, not hers, but it knows you. Pages and pages of observed behaviors, dates you never lived, rooms you don't remember being in, and at the end, red thread status activated. Subject nearing breakthrough. Prepare for mirror closure. You flip the last page. Taped to the inside cover is a mirror shard, and on its surface, etched in what looks like ash, is a phrase, "Who do you become when no one's watching?" That night, your dreams turn vivid, not nightmares, memories, wearing someone else's name, someone else's badge, standing in rooms with no exits, talking into intercoms that never answer, watching her through the glass, writing notes you weren't allowed to keep, and somewhere in the dream always the thread, wrapped around your wrist, tighter. You wake gasping. It's still there, no longer frayed. Now, it pulses. You go to the river, the one behind the old precinct, where you used to sit after closing hard cases, to decompress, to forget. Tonight, you don't bring anything, except the thread. You sit on the bench, wait, and eventually, someone sits beside you. Not her. Someone who looks like her, but older, or younger, or you. It's hard to say. She doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. She just holds out her hand. You place the thread in it, and she ties the end to her own wrist, completes the loop. Now you're both tethered. Back home, your phone has a new notification, a voice memo. No sender. You play it. You found the thread. You followed it. But you didn't ask the final question. What happens when the mirror forgets you? What if you were the last version still trying to make sense of it? What if the story ends? When you stop telling it, the file corrupts. Gone. You sit down, open the notebook, write. This isn't about solving anything. It's about choosing what to carry forward. And beneath that, I wasn't looking for her. I was waiting for her to return something I gave away. My story. You close the book. Then you tie the last piece of thread around the spine. The knot holds. For now, the red thread wasn't hers to begin with. It was yours. And it never meant lost. It meant waiting to be claimed. The red thread stays tied to the notebook. You don't touch it again. Not because you're afraid, but because some things deserve stillness. Like a sealed box in the attic of your mind. It hums with memory and meaning. But you know, pulling it again would rewind everything. Start the loop over. You don't want that. You want to move forward. So you take inventory of everything left behind. The mirror gone. The files archived in your mind. Not on paper. Her. Still somewhere, but no longer waiting for you to remember. You are alone. Except you're not, because something's arrived in your mailbox. An envelope. No stamp. No return. Inside a property deed. You blink twice before you realize where it's for. 221 West Ashby Drive. A house you've never owned, never entered, never even heard of. But the documents say otherwise. Your signature is there. Official, legal, dated 6 years ago. The same week she vanished. You flip through the pages. A surveyor's sketch shows the lot. A one-story home. Nothing remarkable, except for the hand-drawn X in the corner. Living room closet. You remember now. In one of the earlier loops, when she gave you the map, there was a closet in a house that had no right to exist. She said, "That's where I found the rest of the story." You take the deed, the thread-bound notebook, and the one remaining cassette in your desk, the one labeled "Only Final," and you drive. The house stands just like the drawing, quiet, bland. A place memory would skip, if not for the weight it carries. You unlock the door, step inside. No furniture, no photos, no color, just dust and breath, and the smell of something ancient, but not dead. You find the closet, standard size, sliding doors. You open it, inside a chair, wooden, like the others, but different. This one faces inward, toward a wall of mirrors, small, square panels, arranged in a grid, each one etched faintly with initials. Some you recognize, some you don't. Some are yours. One panel flickers, briefly, then shows your face, blurred at the edges, behind glass, like you're still inside something you haven't escaped. You sit, you take out the cassette, insert it into the portable player she left with you all those weeks. Or was it years ago? You press play. Silence, then static, then her voice. Calm, measured, soft. By now, you've remembered enough, but the truth was never the twist. It was the thread. You ran the loops because the story let you survive. But now, you have to choose keep surviving or finally live. You sit there as the tape continues. You became me to hide. I became you to speak. Now that we've both said what needed to be said, it's time to decide what version ends here, or if any of them do. The tape clicks off. You press rewind. Try again. Same message. Only this time, at the end, something new. Look under the chair. You do. There, taped to the underside a photo. Black and white, slightly torn. It shows her, not as you remember, as a child, smiling, holding a red thread, and beside her you, smiling back. You've never taken that photo, but you remember the feeling. You drive home in silence. The notebook in the passenger seat feels heavier now, not physically, but with finality. You park, walk up, open your door, and sitting on your desk, unprompted, untouched, a mirror, a small one, square, the kind used in interrogation rooms. You never placed it there. You sit in front of it. Your reflection stares back, tired, steady, but something flickers at the edges, just for a moment. A second version of you, then another, then dozens, each one blinking slightly out of sync, each one holding a thread, some cut, some tangled, some pristine. One speaks without sound. You made us. Now decide what to do with us. You turn the mirror over. On the back, etched into the metal backing, a story isn't true because it happened. It's true because it couldn't be told any other way. You finally understand. The mirror wasn't watching you. It was waiting for you to catch up. You were never the first version, just the latest to get this far. And now the story is yours again, not because you solved it, but because you remembered why it mattered. You don't write that night. You sit with the mirror instead. The small one, square, cold, honest. You place it at the center of your desk. No fanfare, no question. Let it just be. For once, you don't need it to tell you anything, because you already know. The loop was never about her. It was about who was left behind in the telling. You. And maybe that's what she was trying to show you all along. At dawn, you brew coffee. Open your window. Let real air in. The world is still there. No cracked mirrors, no whispers from the walls, just the distant sound of a garbage truck, a barking dog, a life you used to think belonged to someone else. You flip open the notebook. Fresh page, the thread still tied. You begin writing. You taught me that forgetting is a choice, but so is remembering. You pause, then keep going. The case was the mask. The girl was the mirror. The loops were the memory palace I built to survive. But there's one thing I never asked. Who else has been writing in this notebook? You stare at the page. The ink wavers slightly, and a line appears beneath your writing, not in your hand. It reads, "We all were." You feel it then. That strange, low resonance. The sensation of shared memory. Like you're not the only one holding the pen. Like the other versions, the ones that made it to this point before, are leaving echoes in the margins. You flip back through older pages. They're changing. Not the words, the handwriting. Each entry now rendered in a slightly different style. Some blocky, some loopy, some with tiny hearts instead of dots above the eye. You thought you were the narrator, but you were the chorus. And now that you're writing together, there's only one question left. Whose voice finishes the story? Your phone vibrates. A new contact added. You didn't do it. Verity. No number. Just a voice note attached. You hit play. The house you never bought. The key you never forged. The tape you never recorded. They weren't glitches. They were permissions. Pieces of the truth you gave to someone else to hold until you were ready. Then static. And a final line. It's your handwriting now. You drive? Nowhere in particular. But somehow you find yourself on Lanton Avenue. You don't remember the street, but your feet do. Your eyes do. Muscle memory shaped by forgotten mornings. You park in front of an old brick building. No sign, just a number painted above the doorway, 125. The same as the tag on the silver key. You walk inside. Follow instinct through the hall. Up one floor. Door labeled Room C. You insert the key. It turns without resistance. Inside, another mirror. Just one. And on the floor, dusty. Cracked an old case folder. You kneel, brush it off. On the cover, case ID, R, handwriting confirmed. Inside, only one page. A scan of a journal entry, written in cursive. You recognize the words. They're yours. They're the last thing you wrote in that old notebook before you buried it behind the false panel in your office years ago. You can't protect the truth by locking it away, but you can preserve it until someone's ready to carry it again. You tear the page out, fold it, walk to the mirror. Your reflection waits, smiling, not smug, at peace. You place the folded paper on the mirror's sill. Say, I'm ready. At home, the notebook is gone. The thread still tied, but it loops around nothing now, free, like it's completed its circuit. You sit. The mirror flickers, then stills. No messages, no versions, just you. Finally you. You were never the investigator. You were the container. The story kept changing, not because the world was unstable, but because you were. But now, you've reached the version that doesn't need to keep looping. You don't know how long you sit there. Just you, a quiet room, and the mirror that after everything no longer lies, it doesn't flicker, or whisper, or rewrite your face. It simply reflects. And in that stillness, you realize you've been waiting for this moment longer than you've been living it. Not a twist, not a revelation, just a reckoning. The kind that doesn't break you. The kind that integrates you. You light a cigarette, the first in weeks, not out of habit, out of ceremony. A goodbye to the version of you who needed smoke to cover silence. You reach into your drawer, pull out the last artifact you haven't touched. The envelope marked confession, not yours. Inside a single sheet, typed, no signature. You read it aloud. This is not a confession of guilt, but of architecture. Every story you followed was one you built. Every missing girl was a version of your missing self. The question was never, who took her? The question was, why did you let yourself become the detective instead of the witness? You flip the page. On the back, handwritten, you can put the file down now, or you can write one more. You open your computer. A blank case template stares back. You hesitate, then type case file subject 5, alias verity status, resolved summary. Subject identified not as victim or witness, but as embodied memory. Function containment, purpose survival, outcome reconciliation of narrative control. You sit with that for a long time, then hit save. The file vanishes from the screen. You didn't command that. It just closes. You receive a text message. No name, no number, just coordinates. You look them up. They point to a remote highway curve just outside town. The place where you told yourself she disappeared. You drive, not because you expect her to be there, but because you owe the road a return. At the shoulder, you park. No traffic, no sound. You step out, walking to the exact curve where her case began. The same place where the search dogs lost the scent, where the final camera showed her stepping off the roadside and into nothing. You stand there now. Nothing looks unusual until you kneel. In the dirt pressed lightly into the soil is a shape, a circle, red thread, looped, not broken, just untied. You pick it up. Beneath it, a piece of paper, sealed in plastic. You open it. A photograph of her, smiling, wearing your coat. And behind her, scrawled in marker on a roadside sign, we were never lost, just not ready to be found. You walk walk back to your car. The clouds shift. The sun doesn't break through, but the light softens. You start the engine. A song is playing you didn't cue. A lullaby. The same one from the cassette. But this time, it doesn't feel haunting. It feels like closure. That night, you write the final page. The one you always avoided. This was never about the girl. It was about the story I told to survive the parts of me that fractured. I remember now. I am not her, but I carried her. I watched her. I buried her. And now I release her. You tie the red thread around the final page, snap the notebook shut, and place it on the shelf. The mirror on your wall flickers once, not as warning, as acknowledgement. It shows you, just as you are. No echo, no smile that doesn't belong, no doubled eyes, just you, whole. At last, everyone lies, especially the ones who need the story to hold together. But truth doesn't need mirrors, just a witness who finally stops looking away. You don't need the mirror anymore. You leave it where it is on the wall, quiet, obedient, no flickers, no reflections of someone else. It no longer watches. It simply exists, like any other object in your life, like a photo or a file, something you can choose to look at or not. You've reclaimed your gaze. You wake before dawn. No dreams, no dread, just clarity. You rise, dress simply, grab your coat, the old one, the one she borrowed that night in your office when all of this began. It's lighter now, as if the memory it carried has been exhaled. You step outside. The air is crisp, honest. You walk with nowhere to be. That's new. Every street you pass feels familiar, but not haunted. They're no longer stitched with shadows of unanswered questions, just sidewalks, just early morning light. At a corner cafe, you stop for coffee. The barista asks your name, and for the first time, you don't hesitate. You give your real one, not the badge number, not the case code, not the version of you the department remembered, just you. He nods, smile, calls it out when the cup's ready. It's simple. It's yours. Later that day, you clean your apartment, not because you're expecting anyone, just because it finally feels like your space again. You open a drawer and find a cassette tape you missed, untitled. You don't even flinch. You pop it in the recorder, hit play, but it's silent. No voices, no static, no secret code, just 60 minutes of uninterrupted silence. You sit and listen, every second of it, and somewhere near the middle, you begin to smile, because this is the sound of nothing hiding, the sound of a life resuming. You write one final entry in your notebook, not to close the loop, but to bless the fact that you no longer need it. If you're reading this, you've found your way through. There may still be mirrors, there may still be shadows, but they're yours now. And if you ever forget who you were, just check the version that didn't run. You tie the notebook shut, place it in the back of your shelf. No ritual, no final spell, just a book, just a story. That night, you stand in front of the mirror one last time. You meet your eyes. No lag, no echo, no girl, just you. And for once, that's not a mystery. It's a peace offering. You place your palm against the glass, and it doesn't ripple. It doesn't speak. It reflects, as it should. Your phone buzzes on the counter. No number. One message. It's okay now. You don't have to watch your back. Just live. You smile. You delete it. Not because you need to forget, but because you finally can. That night, you sleep deeply, and nothing follows you. No footsteps behind glass. No whispers in the tape. No missing girls with your handwriting. Just sleep, and the freedom that follows remembering. The mirror is still, The thread is tied. The story is yours.